The American Red Cross is there right now on the ground, assisting thousands of displaced residents.
Joining us right now from the disaster relief organization is Taylor Sowson in Anchorage. Thank you so much for being with us today. Can you describe the situation on the ground right now and tell us about some of the most affected coastal villages?
Yeah, so right now the Red Cross is assisting with the sheltering operation for all of those evacuees, which was the largest airlift operation in Alaska's most recent history. So the two villages of Kwangilagak and Kipnuk, all of the residents from those villages were really the hardest hit during the remnants of this typhoon. And so they evacuated to Anchorage, which is our largest city here in Alaska, and we're working hard in a sheltering operation to bring those folks comfort, care, and hope, and during this difficult time.
Now, these remote Alaskan communities are often only accessible by air or sea. So what unique hurdles is the Red Cross facing in delivering aid to these isolated flood damaged areas?
Yeah, so 90% of the state of Alaska is inaccessible by road, and these are just two of the many villages that are inaccessible year-round. And they're not the only villages that have been impacted. There are 30 plus other villages that received some level of damage from Typhoon Halong. And we're really working hard to get to these outer villages to provide for their immediate needs. We've got hundreds of Red Cross disaster workers, both from Alaska and from the continental United States, that come up to help us with these disaster efforts. Of course, this isn't a place where you can, just run to your local hardware store to get the supplies that you might need to fix your home if it's damaged. And so that's, one of the reasons why the individuals in the two most impacted villages came down to Anchorage, is so that we can help them provide that wraparound support, pretty much through the winter, because it's looking like they might not be able to get back to their homes, in the recent future or ever.
You mentioned some of those challenges. Let's get into that more, because given many of these communities rely on hunting and fishing for survival through the winter, how is the Red Cross adapting its typical disaster relief model to address these specific needs?
Yeah, so a lot of rural villages in Alaska rely on this subsistence lifestyle. So they hunt, fish, and gather the supplies that they might need throughout the winter, and they work all summer to do that. So when this typhoon came through, knocked out power, cut off all of those, supplies, they lost all of those, things that they have worked so hard for to sustain them. And so right now we're just supporting the villages in every way possible, and we're supporting the evacuees here in Anchorage, doing things like providing traditional food items in the shelter. And then we're going to work to provide the individuals that are still in the villages with some supplies to help them, mitigate the effects by the typhoon by, supplementing them with some supplies that might help them during this, with the subsistence lifestyle.
Alaska's governor mentioned some residents may not be able to return home for 18 months or more. So what is the Red Cross's long-term plan for assisting those facing displacement through the entire winter and next year?
We are going to be with these residents, for the days, weeks, and months to come. We know that it is difficult. We know that, we want to get them back to their ancestral lands. We are going to work with the state, our other local and community partners, to make sure that they are as comfortable as they can be while they're here in Anchorage, and really formulate that long-term plan with the state to figure out, when, if, and how we can get these folks back.
Real quick, Taylor, how can people across the country help?
Yeah, so people are depending on the Red Cross for help, and we need your support for these disasters and for other disasters across the U.S. disasters big and small. So you can support the Red Cross by visiting redcross.org and making a financial donation. You can also text the word Red Cross to 90999 or give us a call at 1-800-RED-CROSS.
All right, Taylor Sowson, thank you so much for being with us. We appreciate it.